Hi, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So we're gonna watch a few clips of Joe Rogan going off on the woke mob. I mean, if you have like two brain cells, you will understand that a lot of the things that they stand for is pretty much ridiculous, and it's just a waste of your time, the waste of your energy, and most importantly, a waste of your money. So let's see what Joe Rogan had to
These
say.
are times when Joe Rogan destroyed woke guests on his show.
I mean, if you're
know.
choosing to add hormones to a child's body, that's a choice. An actual woman. Yeah, I said actual. Off.
Gender's not just genitals, it's in your mind.
Right.
In this video, you will see every time Joe Rogan destroyed woke guests on his show, beginning with Adam Conover, who got owned on the topic of trans children. The exchange began when Joe asked Adam for his opinion on trans athletes, to which he stated that he sees nothing wrong with trans competitors.
Now, as you go and watch this, I want you to keep something in your mind. A lot of these people that are going to talk don't actually believe what they're saying. You have to understand that they have built their career around the woke mob. So what that means is if I get donation, I get the most of my money from people who believe in a certain ideology. I have to pander to these people in order to keep getting more and more money. So when they get put into a position like this where they have to answer the most basic question ever, in order not to angry their woke mob, they have to give an answer that will not anger their woke mob. And so they end up looking stupid, especially on Joe Rogan. Bro, the biggest podcast in the world. And you go out there and talk about there's more than two genders, you look dumb. You look stupid. And that's why I said in my previous video, if you have they, them in your bio, anything you say after that, I don't take serious. I don't.
Sports with trans athletes, that is a sporting world that I'm more interested in.
Joe responded to Adam's argument by saying that it's unfair for a biological woman to have to compete against a biological man.
So if you're a woman and you don't take any extra hormones or male hormones, you're not taking steroids or any sort of performance enhancing drugs, but then someone comes along that was a man for 30 years and decides that they're going to be a woman, and this has happened, and literally transitioned a few months ago, and competes as a woman and destroys records and dominates
Leah Thomas is an example.
you in that sport. It's not fair. It's as much cheating as taking steroids when the other person doesn't.
While Joe is making a good argument, Adam rebuttals by stating that there's no such thing as a level playing field.
I disagree, and I've.
What do you disagree about?
I've already. Well, I don't think that there is such a thing as a perfectly level playing field. I think we decide what kind of playing field we want to have.
Sure, but we do make the distinction where we don't allow men to compete in women's divisions.
And I think that distinction may be breaking down a bit.
While Adam believes that the walls of gender
Okay, but you have to understand that even if men were to take all these drugs to try to feminize themselves as much as possible, they still have their muscle mass. They still went through puberty in order to get those muscle mass. They are still biologically men. They may talk like a woman. They may get breast implant. They may, I don't know, do all kinds of surgery to make themselves look as much as women as possible. But guess what? Their physique, their strength, it still exists. You can't get rid of that. You can't tone down the muscle. So it's really stupid how this guy is really trying to make an argument that men and women can actually compete in the fight. Not in the fight, sorry. In the sport. They can't. We've seen examples after examples. They've put women against men in soccer. Men come up top. They put men and women in UFC. Men come up top all the time. Maybe you might have like one or two videos here and there of women beating up on the men. But if the man has trained just the same amount of time as the women, he's going to come on top. It don't matter what sport you give them. If they both train the same day, same hour, every single day, or however long they train for, the same exact time, and you put them against each other in that same exact sport, the man is always, and I'm betting my money on it, every single time the man will come up top. There's a reason for thousands of years, for as long as sports has been around, there's a reason why men play against men, women play against women. Because these people understood from the get-go that men and women are not the same when it comes to sports. It's only in the 21st century when we try to reinvent the wheel. Why are you trying to reinvent something that does not need reinventing? It doesn't need it.
Under are breaking down, Joe Rogan offers a challenging question, asking if males should be able to compete in women's weightlifting.
So you think that males should be able to compete in the women's division of weightlifting?
No, I don't necessarily.
But they can if they transition.
After Joe states the fact that men can compete in women's sports by transitioning, Adam tries to steer the narrative by arguing that as people transition as young as 7 years old, the difference in biological nature will shift.
You're seeing folks transition much earlier age, and so if someone is transitioning from the age of 7 years old, right, and working with those hormones, from that age, right, they're not going to have their body situation is going to be very different than the one that you postulated, right?
First of all, in order for a 7-year-old to transition, the parent has to implant the idea in their mind that they are the opposite gender. It's because of the parent. The parent is the one that implemented that idea in their mind. The kid's brain is still a sponge. It's absorbing anything and everything around it. So if the parent literally raised this kid up to think that they are the opposite gender, this kid is going to grow up thinking that she is the opposite gender. And so they have this idea that you can be born in the wrong body. That's false. It's a lie. It's impossible. You cannot. Having gender dysphoria is different than actually being born in the wrong body. You may think, don't get me wrong, it's a reality that there are some people out there who actually think that they are in the wrong body and their parent did not teach them these things. But the truth of the matter is that is in the brain. That's the brain that you're having an issue up here, and it needs to be looked at. You need help. I'm a biological man. I can't just say that I'm in the wrong body. It just doesn't happen like that. Let's say I have gender dysphoria. Let's say I think that I'm born in the wrong body. Even though I'm thinking this, my body says, no, you're not. I may be thinking that I am, but my body's like, no, you are not. Why? Because I have muscle. I went through, phases that a boy goes through when they're growing up. I went through all of these things. And so what does that tell me? It tells me, hey, although you may be thinking these, your body's like, you're not those.
Joe pushed back on the idea of transitioning kids, stating that 7-year-olds don't even know who they are.
There's no reason to give kids hormones, and there's no reason to decide before a person's frontal lobe is completely fully developed, which doesn't even take place till 25. You're going to let them decide what sex they're going to be for the rest of their life?
This is when Adam starts talking about his friend with the trans kid, and how because he feels like a girl, he must get hormones, implying that it's not a choice, to which Joe disagrees.
I have a friend who has a trans kid. He's explained that my child from a very young age consistently said, I am a girl, and has never contradicted themselves, never changed their mind. And so the humane thing and the thing that he felt was good to do as a parent was to embrace that choice on his child's part, right?
Embrace that choice meaning hormonally.
I shouldn't even phrase it as a choice, like embrace that identity. Yeah.
Okay, but if that's who they are, if they think that they're a girl, why do you have to give them hormones to make them more of a girl?
When asked a simple question, Adam stutters, and this is where Joe...
And that's what I mean. Even though in here, I think I may be the opposite gender, my body is saying you're not. I'm still strong. I still grew... if I don't do anything, I'm still going to develop like a normal man would.
Joe absolutely destroys Adam.
Because... I'm sorry, can you expand on the question?
It's a simple question. If you say that the child thinks it's a girl, so you're going to give the child hormones.
Mm-hmm.
If the child thinks it's a girl, let it be a girl. You don't have, why are you adding hormones? If you're shooting hormones into a child and you're affecting the child's development, you're saying that's not a choice. That's nonsense. Of course it's a choice. You're choosing to chemically change this child's body.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this isn't a choice. Well, it's definitely a choice to do that.
With no ability to provide a strong argument, and the comment feedback on the video being almost entirely negative, with viewers stating things such as, if I had a penny for every time Adam declared that he wasn't an expert, we could hire an actual expert to tell him how wrong he is. It's safe to say that Adam had no clue what he was talking about and got absolutely destroyed, but at least he listened to Joe's argument and didn't interrupt.
Most of them don't know what they're talking about. Like I said from the beginning, they're literally saying all of these things just to pander to their audience. They don't want to lose that good money.